CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Connor Hogg.
Basically, this is the next evolution of Westmount Shopping Centre. We are completely transforming the shopping centre, modernizing it, adding brand new retail.
A new vision is on the way for Edmonton's oldest mall. Westmount Shopping Centre will soon be transformed through a multi-million-dollar project that will see much of the middle section torn down. Good evening. Westmount opened 71 years ago as our city's first modern mall. It will soon become something different. As CTV's Jeremy Thompson reports, the renovation is building on all sorts of redevelopment momentum in the area.
Now that Dollarama is gone, there's not much left inside Westmount Mall. Its faux skylights brighten empty hallways. The food court serves only memories.
I miss Nikki's.
More than 7 decades of memories are in this mall. Opening in 1955 as Westmount Shoppers Park, its success inspired Edmonton's other malls. You could easily mistake this footage of Westmount in the 80s for West Edmonton Mall. Now, a new vision is being presented to the public.
We're basically turning the mall inside and out and really putting some TLC, much needed TLC into the mall.
The food court and much of the middle is being torn down and rebuilt as a breezeway called the Porch.
The new Westmount Dental Clinic and Gym Movement, they're interior facing today, but will be exterior facing when we're done.
This site plan shows an expanded west parking lot. Everything orange is new, while major tenants like Safeway, Shoppers, and Scotiabank are staying put and staying open during renovations.
Some of our most dense areas outside of the core are around that mall.
Councillor Aaron Rutherford believes the updated mall will complement other recent changes. The area has seen an explosion of infill housing, and a neighbouring project is adding hundreds of new below-market homes. A brand new velodrome and rec centre just opened, not to mention Coronation Park and recently renovated TELUS World of Science.
Car traffic is still going to be huge, but there is still a major transit centre there, and there is bike connectivity there. So I think it's going to be a real shining example of what the potential is across our city.
They're not going to revive the movie theatre, though.
Oh, I was kind of wondered. It probably looks pretty interesting. Yeah. Like, it's been dead for like, what, 15 years?
Instead of a theater, a daycare is coming to a new 2-story section.
We feel it, we know people love this place, and we are trying to make it even better than it already is.
Construction starts next month and is expected to take up to 2 years. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Local grocery store chain Loka is closing both of its locations next week. Loka Quality Market runs 2 locations, one in Sherwood Park and the other in West Edmonton. Both will close Thursday, March 12th. Loka says it was, quote, humbled by the difficulty of executing a locally focused, handcrafted business model. It goes on to say, despite best efforts, it did not see a sustainable path forward for the business. Loka says all employees and suppliers will be paid in full and on schedule. An Edmonton City Councillor says construction is starting soon on the new Nordic spa in the Brander Gardens neighbourhood. The city approved the spa last summer for a piece of land off White Mud Road overlooking the area. Mike Elliott is the councillor for the spot where the spa will be. In a social media post, he says over the next few weeks, crews will start preparing the site for construction. Part of that includes removing diseased or dead trees, as well as trees where buildings will be. The company behind the spa says it plans to preserve the natural setting wherever possible. The Nordic spa is expected to open in 2028. Well, it's that time of year when Albertans change the clocks, springing forward an hour to daylight saving time. British Columbians are doing that for the last time this weekend after deciding to end the practice. As Alberta ponders whether to do the same, CTV's Nicole Weisberg takes a look at another contentious question: which time zone to pick?
Don't add on an hour here and don't take an hour off there.
Bill Alwyn is one of the many Albertans ready to put the biannual time change to rest.
Just leave it. like Vancouver's going to do.
More than 90% of respondents in a 2020 government survey agreed to sticking to one time, daylight saving time year-round. However, in a referendum a year later, a slim majority opted against that.
I think the question was a little double-barreled, which is why it was confusing. I think if you just ask people, do you want to stop the time change, you'd probably end up with overwhelming support.
At an unrelated news conference, the Premier said they are going to restart consultations on the topic, given BC's move to stop changing the clocks. If she had to pick, Danielle Smith agrees with their direction.
I like more sunlight at night.
When we get more light in the afternoon and early evening, it's pushing our clocks to go later.
This York University biology professor is adamant staying on standard time is best. She says sunlight is key to getting our bodies going.
And that's because our clocks run a little bit slow. We tend to lag a little bit, and morning light pulls it back and speeds it up so that we're in sync with the day-night cycle.
One vehicle lighting expert says he has an even stronger argument for the other option.
There's pretty sturdy research showing that every year when we switch to wintertime, standard time, pedestrian deaths after dark jump up. And it's not just a temporary spike while people get used to it. It stays up until the moment we switch to summer daylight time, and it drops back down.
Daniel Stern says that's because more people are out and about in the afternoon and evening. Both Edmonton Police and RCMP data show there are more serious pedestrian crashes between 3 and 7 p.m. compared to 6 and 10 a.m. They say that could be due to a number of factors. Nicole Weisberg, CTV News, Edmonton.
The price of oil is on the rise, surpassing $90 U.S. a barrel. Conflict in the Middle East is putting significant pressure on the world's oil supply, and there's no end in sight. Higher oil prices brings a double-edged sword for us here in Alberta. The numbers for West Texas Intermediate are 50% higher than they were last week. The finance minister's office confirmed the windfall could help offset the deficit in budget 2025-26, which wraps up this month, and next year's projected $9.4 billion deficit. ATB's chief economist cautions prices need to stay high for an extended period of time to make a significant difference to the provincial bottom line.
I don't think many people are going to be celebrating these higher oil prices. It's just not something, even in Alberta, you're going to be feeling that positive about, at least in the short term.
Some economists are predicting oil to rise to $100 a barrel in the next 5 weeks. Alberta and Ottawa have reached a prospective deal that could see major projects approved more efficiently. The two governments say they'll work together when addressing the broader impacts of these projects. That includes on the environment. The deal means projects under Alberta's jurisdiction will rely on the provincial regulatory process. For projects involving federal land and jurisdiction, Alberta's process will be integrated with Ottawa's.
Major projects within our boundaries are going to be governed by Alberta processes. That, I think, restores the original intention of how our country is supposed to work. That being said, we need to have the legislation changed at the federal level. We're grateful for this carve-out, but I think that's another stage of the process.
The new agreement is expected to be finalized after collecting public feedback. Alberta and Ontario have signed an agreement to expand the electrical grid between them. Affordability and Utilities Minister Nathan Neudorf signed the deal in Toronto. Every province except Quebec and Newfoundland and Labrador is involved in the agreement. Neudorf says the deal lays the foundation for thousands of jobs, billions of dollars in investment, and a modernized electrical grid. Alberta already has agreements tying into the grid in BC, Saskatchewan, and Montana. In 2024, Alberta became a net exporter of electricity. The Alberta Utilities Commission has rejected an application to build a mega data center in the town of Olds. In January, Synapse Data Center and the town announced plans for a $10 billion project on the east side of Olds. Backers want to build a 1.4 gigawatt facility powered by natural gas turbines. Some expressed concern about noise as well as environmental and health issues. Today, the Commission posted a decision saying the proposal was missing information and there was a lack of public consultation. Synapse says it's reviewing the decision and will seek more public feedback. A man who pled guilty to stabbing and killing a stranger that lived in his neighborhood has been sentenced to 5.5 years in prison. Late this afternoon, the justice accepted the joint sentence submission. CTV's Amanda Anderson reports from the courthouse.
A fourth-floor courtroom was packed with family and friends of 35-year-old Cody Lyle. He was killed in February 2024 after being stabbed by a man he didn't know who lived in his neighborhood. That man is Jaden Cardinal, who was 30 at the time. He was charged with second-degree murder but pleaded guilty to the lesser manslaughter charge. According to an agreed statement of facts, Lyle drove past Cardinal, who was walking with his nephew and daughter after picking her up at school. Lyle parked in front of his house and started shoveling when he was approached by Cardinal, claiming he was driving in an unsafe manner. There was an argument, with Cardinal saying he'd return to slash the tires and break the windows on Lyle's truck. Cardinal returned about 45 minutes later and punctured one of Lyle's tires with a knife. Lyle saw it happen and ran after him, swinging the snow shovel he was still carrying at Cardinal. The facts say there was a struggle, and Cardinal eventually pulled out a knife and began swinging at Lyle. While trying to block the knife strikes, he wound up with a large gash on his hand. Cardinal then stabbed him in the chest and ran away. Lyle walked home and called 911. He was taken to hospital, where he later died. More than 30 victim impact statements were read during the sentencing hearing. Cardinal sat next to his lawyer with his head down as many of the statements were read through tears. Lyle described as a kind, happy man who wouldn't hurt a fly. The court also heard about the lasting impacts his death has had on his girlfriend, now left without the man she'd planned a future with. His mother was working at the RCMP detachment in St. Paul the day it happened. She told the court it was a good friend and colleague who gave her the news her son was dead. She says she's still mourning and hasn't been able to return to work. Cody was and always will be an amazing, funny, loving son. Every day is empty to me, she said. Cardinal was given a chance to speak before he was sentenced. He stood, turned towards Lyle's family and apologized, saying he never meant to kill him. He also asked if one day they could find a way to forgive him. Cardinal was sentenced to 5 years, 6 months, but was given 6 months credit for time served. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
The family of a teenager who disappeared more than 40 years ago is offering a $50,000 reward for anyone with new information about what happened to her. On 8 p.m. on May 3rd, 1983, Shelley Ann Baxu left a friend's house at what is now known as the Hillcrest Trailer Park in Hinton. She was last seen walking west along the north side of Highway 16. In the 43 years since her disappearance, RCMP have found some of her clothes and belongings. Investigators believe she was killed. Now her family has put together a $50,000 reward for anyone who can help them find out what happened to her.
No matter how small you think it might be the one that we've needed for 43 years. I'm in my 80s, and I would love to have my daughter's remains with me when I go.
The family also presented an artist's rendition of what Shelley Ann might look like now if she's still alive. If you have any information about what happened to her, contact Crime Stoppers. A new center is now open to help Indigenous people transition out of the justice system and into society. The Native Counselling Service of Alberta is operating the centre on the West End. The goal is to have the centre be a one-stop shop for offenders. The centre will give people access to ceremonies and teachings, support from elders, and programs and services developed with an Indigenous lens. The NCSA says it's been 5 years in the making.
This reintegration center brings hope back that change is possible by creating a safe environment where the services come to our people.
The NCSA has been providing support and services to Indigenous people in Alberta for more than 50 years. All 3 players the Oilers acquired this week made their debut tonight. Earlier today, one of those players said he'll have his family from St. Albert in the stands.
I think my mom and dad are, they were probably the 2 most excited people on the planet yesterday when they found out. So pretty crazy. We've been coming to games since I don't even remember how old I was, but it's a pretty surreal moment.
Colton Dock said his mom, dad, and sister would be at tonight's game. He says he grew up as a die-hard Oiler fan along with the rest of his family. Defenseman Connor Murphy also played tonight, so did center Jason Dickinson. He's looking forward to potentially reaching the playoffs for the first time since 2020.
Obviously, a couple of long playoff runs stick out in my head. I want to make it a third one and one that counts. The opportunity to play in the playoffs is something to cherish because it's been 6 years since I've had my last crack at the playoffs, and as a young guy, you don't really appreciate the opportunity in front of you sometimes.
Murphy, Doc, and Dickinson haven't had many chances to practice with the team ahead of the first game. That's something head coach Chris Knobloch wasn't worried about earlier today.
I think their systems are very similar to what they were doing in Chicago, and I think transition will be very seamless for them. I think it's important that we don't have much hockey left, and I don't think we want to hold them back at all.
All three players come from the Chicago Blackhawks. Coming up next, animal action all weekend at the Expo grounds as Wildlife Fest takes over. Also just ahead, members of an Edmonton mosque end their Ramadan fast, celebrating with a meal shared with Edmonton's vulnerable.
I see people happy, I get happy that I was able to be part of this, that we as a community were able to be part of this, to help those in need.
Good evening, folks. It was a warm one today, up to 7 degrees, and should be even warmer tomorrow, but a little gusty tomorrow morning, and then really windy as things start to cool off on Sunday. We'll talk about all that in just a few minutes.
Muslims in Edmonton fasting for Ramadan broke for iftar this evening. Members of the Al-Rashid Mosque shared their evening meal with vulnerable Edmontonians. Volunteers cooked up a taste of Ramadan dinner, served and shared at Boyle Street Plaza. The mosque says this is a visible expression of the compassion and service that defines Ramadan.
I have no words, really. It's just, I see people happy, I get happy that I was able to be part of this, that we as a community were able to be part of this, to help those in need.
The fast concluded at sundown at 6:26. Canmore's housing crunch is making it harder for essential workers to put down roots, including doctors. Rent and home prices have soared, and vacancy rates are at record lows. CTV's Mark Villani reports.
Dr. Brendan Flowers is flipping through the classifieds. He's trying to find an affordable place to live for one of his newly recruited physicians.
$26.59 plus utilities.
That's about the average monthly price to rent a one-bedroom place in Canmore. It only goes up from there thanks to high demand, limited supply, and a rental vacancy rate of less than 1%.
Affordable housing here is considered 10% under market value, but when market value is insane, 10% less than insane is still crazy.
So Flowers put out his own call on social media, pleading with anyone to help find two of his new doctors a place to live.
They want to be here, they're keen to be here, they want to serve the community, but if they have no place to live, there's not much that we can do.
Right now, the median price to buy a short-term rental home in Canmore is $950,000. A 3-bed townhouse at $1.2 million and a single-family home upwards of $2.6 million.
We're sitting at around 110 listings in Canmore, which is very low.
Local realtor Daniel McGuire says a huge demand for short-term rentals used as Airbnbs is also impacting the market.
50% of the people I meet are looking for that type of property. So because, again, there's such a low supply, and that keeps the prices very steady and high.
But Canmore's mayor says the town is trying to tackle its housing issue with a 0.4% livability tax on homes that sit empty for much of the year, targeting out-of-province owners. The revenue would help pay for new non-market housing projects to add more supply and catch up with demand.
So most of this will have to be done by the municipality, and we're going to need to build thousands of rental and ownership units in the coming years.
But time is ticking for new residents, including future doctors, and the longer the wait, the more it could affect care for local patients.
It's just a matter of what that downstream effect is, because it does impact the community health.
Mark Villani, CTV News in Canmore.
Exotic animals are sniffing out their temporary new digs at the Expo Center for the Edmonton Wildlife Festival. From pigs and porcupines to sloths and boa constrictors, capybaras and kangaroos, lots of animal action is happening this weekend at the exhibition grounds. Organizers say the Wildlife Festival is the place to see a number of animals you wouldn't normally see in Edmonton. It also helps fund the exotic animal rescue they operate.
We started a nonprofit exotic animal rescue. We take in people's pets, and we've grown from having in 2020 about 20 animals to we will break 500 animals this year.
Wildlife Festival runs through this weekend. You can check ticket prices online. Sled dog racers are inviting you to Red Deer this weekend to see their dogs in action.
Please come watch. It's a lot of fun. The teams love it. The mushers love it. It's a pile of fun to show our sport and kind of have the opportunity to maybe show off just a little bit.
The dog mushing event is taking place at the Riverbend Golf and Recreation Area. 33 teams have signed up so far. Several events will take place, including the sprint sled with either 2 or 4 dog teams, and ski jor, where a racer is on skis and a dog is pulling them. Organizers say Red Deer's race may be the only time mushers see action this season. Coming up next, an Alberta University football player temporarily trading the gridiron for Gucci, making an international splash at Milan Fashion Week.
I just want to study and play football. I don't really have a craving for fame.
Coming up Monday on Your Morning, the ins and the outs of fostering pets at a time when homes are desperately needed. Find out how you can help and make a difference. See you at 6.
Your Morning Edmonton, weekdays.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
-8 this morning, 7 degrees for a daytime high this afternoon. It was a very warm day, 9 degrees above average through the day today. Should be in double digits tomorrow, 10, maybe even 11 for a daytime high. We've got some rain moving through the overnight period, snow further to the north. That'll all clear out by early tomorrow morning. So for the first half of the day, a little on the breezy side and some sunshine. Cloud cover increases through the course of the day Saturday here in Edmonton, and then tomorrow night could see a few more scattered showers move through. And again, further to the north, we'll get some snow. In fact, through the course of the weekend, could see several centimeters of snow across parts of northern Alberta, maybe as much as 10 centimeters in a couple of spots. Sunday morning, most of the precipitation looks like it's going to be south of Edmonton, but there's a slight chance for a little rain-snow mix to start the day, and then maybe a few passing flurries in the afternoon. The big story Sunday is the wind. Temperatures will be dropping through the day. It will be around 0 in the afternoon, but through the first half of the day and into the early afternoon hours, gusts anywhere between 60 to maybe 80 kilometers per hour. I think for most of the time, it's more like 50 to 70, but could see some even stronger gusts at times. And that'll not only be the case here in Edmonton, but across much of central and north central Alberta. -12 in Fort McMurray tomorrow morning, 4 in Grey Prairie. Red Deer down to the freezing mark. We stay above 0. Could see some patchy freezing rain in east central Alberta with temperatures around -4 tomorrow morning. 2 in Fort McMurray tomorrow afternoon. Big warm up from where you were today. It was -13 this afternoon in Fort McMurray. 6 degrees in Grand Prairie. Edson gets to 10, 9 or 10 in Jasper, and in the 5 to 10 degree range for east central Alberta and Red Deer. Here's your weekend. Temperatures up to a high of 10 tomorrow with the increasing cloud. Wind gusts 30 or 40 kilometers per hour. Chance of showers tomorrow evening. Chance of a rain-snow mix Sunday morning. Temperatures falling through the day and really windy on Sunday. After Sunday, temperatures drop back to around or slightly below 0 for daytime highs. That is your forecast.
A University of Calgary football player just made his international debut, not on the field, instead walking the catwalk at Milan Fashion Week. As CTV's Jacqueline Wilson reports, the Alberta talent is taking the worldwide attention in stride.
From gridiron to the catwalk, the spotlight is on Gavin Weiss. The 18-year-old just returned from Milan Fashion Week, where he walked in the Gucci show.
I got a little nervous. They make it like a character. Like they're like, think about this character when you're walking, and that's kind of how they do it with it. And so they told me like Italian mob boss.
Weiss was even featured on the Gucci Instagram page, which has over 51 million followers. But he isn't letting the attention go to his head, though his family and friends are pretty impressed.
They're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Yeah, they're all like posting me and stuff. So they're supportive.
It's a great way to help pay for school, but his real passion is football.
Swing pass to Weiss. He'll dive across the 10-yard line.
I just want to study and play football. I don't really have a craving for fame.
It's good news for head coach Ryan Sheehan.
I'm happy for him. We want all of our young men to have opportunities outside of the classroom and the field to go on and pursue their passion. So this one's a pretty unique one, first for me for sure. But this is his kind of cool moment, and I'm happy for him.
Weiss was scouted at the Stampede by Mode Models when he was 15.
Gucci this season wanted that really athletic
hot-looking sort of bodybuilder, football-looking guy, and so we sent his stuff to the casting director. That's what Gavin did. When this red-haired sort of, beefcake comes out of the backdrop, it's gone viral on the internet because it's not normal.
For now, Weiss is trading the designer labels for textbooks, tackling midterms 1 yard at a time. Jacqueline Wilson, CTV News, Calgary.
Thanks for watching us tonight. For the latest news anytime, visit our website, ctvnewsedmonton.ca. From all of us at CTV, thanks for spending your time here. Have a good night.